as well, but it goes back to Kemet. And you'll see, one, that when you go there and you just understand how the civilization was and you think about how it fell, to me, they was double crossed. Somebody let the cat out the bag. Somebody gave the Europeans some kind of information that led to the downfall of Kemet. And to me, it was these damn Moors. Plain and simple. Because they got out of there with some knowledge and they ran with it. And they was able to do what they did because they had this information that somehow, the rest of the smart, prominent Africans who were kings and had territories and everything else, somehow they all were wiped out. As I talked about the kingdoms in Africa that's gone, that was laid to rubble, and the people in the kingdoms was enslaved or killed. Somehow the Moors dodged all that shit, dodged slavery and everything else. While all the other smart people and so-called Moors was falling, these specific Moors seemed to survive it, get with Islam, and basically aid in the destruction and genocide of African people. And then they, we come to America in chains. They somehow come in fezzes and everything cool, and they smart and they getting along and working with these white folks while we in chains. Are you kidding me? We don't have to debate about this. I don't understand. To me, this is just an easy one. What happened? And if you don't look and do the research, you're not going to figure it out. Too many people are just caught up in the knowledge and thinking that these people are smart and they got knowledge and power. No. To me, they ain't no different from the damn boule. They're trying to conform to the white man's law. And I don't care how much the white man is, the white man that, how much shit they kick about black power and everything like that. This is what they're trying to do. Plain and simple. Go into the court, you say this to the judge, you speak this way, and he gonna let you go. The law ain't gonna work for you. We just conforming to their shit. So when you pay attention, you can see it. They got double crossed all across the board. Plain and simple. You don't see no Arabs running around claiming to be Moors. You don't see them running around throwing that Moor stuff up, talking about being Moors and claiming to be Moors. Everybody know Moor meant black and that the Moors was black. So when you go back and look at all of the conquering that the Moors did, there were Moorish kings, of course. And they did so much conquering, but they was working for the damn Romans. And that's what it was. They was allowing these Moors to go out and enslave white women and sell them into sex trades and all kinds of shit. The Moors was running around doing all the dirty work. But you don't see, again, no Arabs claiming to be Moors. So when you look up the definition and see that Moors are supposed to be Arabs, since when? Since when? They know for a fact that the Moors was black and that they put them in with the Muslims because the Muslims had the numbers and the Moors had the knowledge. And they went out and they conquered for the Romans. And then the Romans double-crossed them. When they conquered and took Spain, they put Ferdinand and Isabella on the throne, answering to Rome. As I talked about before, Columbus was a Roman, even though they answered to them, to Ferdinand and Isabella. This was all under Rome. Rome double-crossed them and basically removed them from power and slowly instilled all their people into power. Again, look at North Africa. Why is all those regions so mixed? It's not ran by black people. It's not ran by Africans. True Africans, dark-skinned people. It's ran by the mixture of these Romans coming in, mixing with these Berbers, mixing with these Arabs and Africans. But the person who's at the top is Rome and running the whole thing. So they thought by coming to America and doing some kind of deal or agreement with America that they was going to get some kind of prize, some kind of status, when they got double-crossed, wiped out, and they put in place in Morocco and these other places their people. They got rid of the black faces. You go back and look at everything, you hear people talking about the first president being black and he was a Moor and everything like that. All this stuff goes back to the Moors. All this stuff you got to look at and understand that they was double-crossed, and this is what they're talking about. But their motive, plain and simple, their agenda was the slavery of other African people for their own financial gain or their own political gain or their own benefit of them being in some kind of position of power. That's what it was. And they've been working that power for a long time. They understand that you have groups out there that's willing to sell a people out in exchange for money. So this is one of the things I believe that Malcolm X found out about the Nation of Islam. You hear a lot of people talking about the Nation of Islam basically being run by the Jews. And I believe that has been going on for a while. You go back and look at the meetings and the KKK sitting in, or the neo-Nazis sitting in with the NOI. What the hell is that? What do they have to talk about? What are these people doing sitting here when you see that swastika? What do they have to talk about? There's nothing to talk about. So I believe this is one of the things that Malcolm X found out about, and that's why he got out. That's why he got out. What other reason would he have to get out? Yeah, he went to Africa. He went to Egypt. He's seen what was there. And he understood how Islam was done over there in the Middle East. It was totally different. And that could be part of the reason why he got out. But he also must have found out about who they was really working with, that they felt it was so much of a threat that they killed him. Plain and simple. Because they didn't allow him to give that full speech. When he came out there to talk, who knows what he was going to say? They killed him before he could finish the speech. But maybe he would have came out and said, hey, who these people are and what they doing. It's not a coincidence. Now, don't get me wrong. I listened to so many Farrakhan speeches. Farrakhan speaks well. And he says the right stuff. Trust me. But he's at that age now, and they let him be. But you can't get to that age and not be under their control. Everybody else who was around when Farrakhan was coming up and doing this thing, they're all gone. Plain and simple. Dead and gone. As I said, every real leader that we have ever had, they have killed. If they couldn't buy you, they buried you. And the fact that he's alive, Khalid Muhammad, they're gone. But Farrakhan's still alive should tell you something. But, I'm not going to really talk too much to that because it's just something that people got to look at closer themselves and see. It's a lot of people that got a lot of respect for Farrakhan and stuff that he say and do. But, I'm going to leave it at that. But you got to go back and look and pay attention to everything to understand what's going on, and that a lot of this stuff is smoke and mirrors and it's controlled. And you have powers that be behind the controls, and you have, these traitors doing everything they can to get into positions of power, and these people who have popped up in these little low budget, small time Moors groups or what have you don't know what the hell they're getting themselves into. And they secretly want to just be down to be down with the big dogs. Plain and simple. But these people are traitors. And there's no way in the world you should look at them and respect them for what they're doing when they have taken up an organization, a group of people that is synonymous with trading on their people. I don't want to be around the fucking people. I don't want to talk to them. Because black people die when these people show up. Plain and simple. And the fact that you look at what we was going through while they running around doing their thing with all that knowledge is crazy. So it's just something I can't accept in looking at the true history of these people. So when you follow the whole thing again, when you look at the fact that you have Shriners and Fezzes, Moors and Fezzes, all of it going back to Islam, and you have the whole affiliation with the KKK. I mean, it's crazy. Why would you want to take part in anything that's dealing with this stuff? You need to understand what this stuff is about. So again, they got double crossed. Whatever they was going to do, whatever they was doing before all this stuff happened. Because you got to remember, Columbus came over. He came with Moors. It was Moors that helped that man out. It ain't no coincidence that you have Moors, you have Morocco, you have the whole connection with Spain, you have the connection with Columbus, and you have, Mauritania, which I talked about, which stretches from the northern part of Morocco to Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, and that was called Mauritania, supposedly where the name Moor derived from. It's no coincidence that you have the Morocco basically acknowledging America first and the whole treaty with Morocco and the Moors. All this stuff is no coincidence. But you got to understand what it goes back to. It goes back to the double cross. It goes back to the fact that they was double-crossed by Rome, and then it was again double-crossed by Rome in America. They had some kind of agenda in America to where they would allow Columbus and these people to come over to enslave us in America. And then they trying to steal your identity and say they were you. They trying to say, well, no, we was already in America. Try to say that they are the Native Americans and they was here before the colonies. No, y'all led these motherfuckers over here. Y'all led them to America and let them capture your people and enslave them. That's what happened. Don't fall for what they talking about, because you got to put two and two together and think about that. What are you doing even consorting with these people? And then after they enslaved us and wiped a bunch of us out, how was y'all still free in dealing with these people? How was you dealing with them in any kind of capacity to even put together a constitution? Think about this stuff. But they want to steal your identity and say, oh no, we was here and we was the natives in America. We was here for all these years. Bullshit. They came over, they got in good with the black people that was already in America and allowed these people to start coming over. And eventually they took over. You know, as I said before, I talked about the calculated destruction of the black man and woman. I talked about in the many hidden accomplishments of African people, that these white people are not just going to walk into African lands, into black people lands and say, hey, they're not just going to do that. They need a buffer. They need a go-between. And that was the Moors. They need somebody who know the people, who speak the language, who know the layout, who can get in there and help them. They did the same thing with the damn Arabs, helping the Arabs conquer those African territories and turn everybody from the original African spirituality to these damn religions. It was them. They got into so many different territories and traded. So, I mean, it's just clear as that. Somebody had to do it, and it was them. It was them. Don't fall for them. Don't fall for the bullshit, and I don't care how smart they sound or what they might say. They are traitors. Now, some of the people who've been hoodwinked into joining, into thinking that they are Moors, are probably good people, but they have no knowledge. They don't know what the hell they're doing, so they got suckered into the whole thing. And then you have people who know what's going on, who know what's up, and these are your agents. I get called agent all the damn time. Oh, he's an agent. You know, this dude's the coon. He's an agent because I have a fucking intro for my video. They think I'm an agent. You know, because black people, we can't have intros for our videos. We can't do shit. We got to be an agent if we have something that looks official in any kind of way. I can't just be a nigga who went to film school or who is a fucking computer genius who has almost his doctorate, his PhD in computer science, which I have my PhD in computer science soon. I can't just be that dude. I got to be an agent. As soon as they see any kind of, sophistication or anything that looks right or seems right, you're an agent. They're looking at themselves in the mirror. Plain and simple, they are the agents. And anybody who would basically want to conform to this system is stupid. There wasn't no Arabs in ancient Egypt before the Egyptians. Wasn't no Arabs in these African territories, not even the Middle East, before African people. These people are conquerors. They came in and they took the land. These Berbers, these people, these mixed people who came about later on due to the mixing of Europeans and African people and the mixing of just, different races. When these people came together, of course, those lands before belonged to black people and it was later conquered. Plain and simple. So we know that we was here. We know we was on the planet first. We know we was in these territories long before them. Something had to happen. Somebody took our land. How did it happen? How did it go down? And again, this is just due to the fact that you have a people that is spiritual and you have a people that's more focused on material, and they are both being played by, the powers that be, in the first place, because basically Rome was running the whole damn show. And that's what it was answering to. There's no coincidence that, again, as after Spain was taken, that Rome trickled into basically all northern Africa, and they in all northern Africa, over from Morocco all the way over to Kemet in the north part, which is why, as I talked about before, they're trying to steal that part and come up with the whole sub-Saharan thing to make themselves separate from the rest of Africa, because they know below that the Sahara is just nothing but black people. So they want to say, okay, you have sub-Saharan African. And it's basically no African people in the north because they up there. And as I talked about in the Moors DVD, as I said, yes, you had at a time the Romans and African people living in Libya peacefully. Same thing in Spain, peacefully. And it happened one time. You had the Romans, those people that was up there, try to take some African land, and they blew their ass out of there. They basically massacred those white people, and it was out in Spain. And now they try to cry later on and say, well, we was there, this was our land, and we had to take it from us. When they took African land in Spain, and those Africans wiped their ass out. And they ain't come back till way later on and take that land. But you have had them living peacefully in Libya, which is why when we say that the Romans was coming into Egypt to learn, well, it was right next door. It was next door. And you had these people, they was in there. I mean, everything was cool for a while between the Greeks, the Romans. Everybody was coming into Kemet, coming into Africa and learning. But you had the people at the top, the powers that be, who had other plans for, other aspirations of, world domination, and they acted them out. They got people to join, and they did what they did. The Moors helped them. And that's the point. Without the Moors, they wouldn't be in power. They wouldn't have the knowledge that they have. You wouldn't be suffering. We wouldn't have suffered through slavery. We wouldn't have suffered through the sub-Saharan slave trade. The damn Moors helped them out. Instead of helping their people with the knowledge and giving their people the information and building their people up, they built up the enemy. It's a proven fact. You have cases where you look at the genocide in Africa where you have fucking Belgians and fucking Europeans leading armies of only black Moors into Africa to kill black people. Think about that. So this should be the end of that argument. I don't jump into the Moors a whole bunch and do a bunch of videos on the Moors and stuff like that like I do with Christianity, Islam, because there's no point. To me, there's so much information out there when you look at it to where you can see what these people are, what they did, and what they really stand for. And if you're against religion, you should be against the Moors because they're about their religion, which basically they are basically using the true knowledge of Islam to basically keep themselves in power. That's what it's about. And that's what they are about. So again, I'm not here to tell people what to follow, what to do with their life or what have you, but truth is truth. You can look at the information for yourself and make up your own determination. But I'm putting out, what I'm putting out. And I talked about this before. And we got to realize that it's not going to be some kind of group that we're going to join that's going to fucking free us from all this stuff. We're not going to join some kind of organization, some kind of affiliation, some kind of religion or what have you that's going to take us away from all this shit. Be who you are. Plain and simple. You are who you are. Truth is truth. You only go by that. Truth. What the Egyptians called ma'at. Righteousness. Truth. Justice. Plain and simple. You can't go wrong. These people want to join these cliques. Who should I worship now? Well, if I don't worship this guy, what God should I worship? Why do you want to worship anything? If religion is wrong, what religion should I be? Why do you want to be a part of these religions so bad? Why do you want to be a part of this? Be who you are. Follow truth. Plain and simple. If you follow truth, and wherever it leads you, that's where you at. That's what it is. And I guarantee you, when you follow truth, it's not going to lead you to none of this shit. None of these religions, none of these secret societies or what have you, who hide the truth. So it's about you following what's right and doing, what's true. And as long as you do that, you should be cool. You should be fine. No group is going to save you from what these people have in store for us. So unless we come together in truth and not in these religions and these, little cliques and groups, we're not going to get any remedy. People want to say they're conscious, to just be a part of that whole movement, the conscious movement. Well, I'm conscious. I'm woke. You're about truth. Plain and simple. You're Muslim. And I see so many black people just be Muslim because, they know the white man has his hands in the Bible, so they want to run into Islam But then they get to Islam and they find the problems with Islam and realize that, you know, you can't eat pork. You can't do the stuff that you like to do. You got to pray 5 times a day. And then they want to jump out of that and say, well, I got to find something to belong to in order to feel like, you know, I'm something. You know, just to have some kind of identity to brag about or what have you. I don't know. The shit is crazy. Again, you know, I'm not trying to push anybody towards anything. Truth, that's it. You know, and the reason why I look at everything, not just in Kemet, I look everywhere, as you have seen, is because so many people spoke about the truth and they put out the truth. And, you know, it's easy to see when you be real with yourself and not follow what you want to follow because it fits your emotions or fits what you want to be true or what you believe to be true. No matter how devastating it is, no matter how much it goes against what I want, I still follow until I get the truth. And that's what everybody should do. So, you know, when you look at the whole moral situation and all these other religions as well, it's not, you know, it's not surrounded by truth. It's surrounded by a lot of bullshit, a lot of deception, a lot of death of namely Black people. So think about that. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch. Thanks for supporting, and I'll see you guys next video.